a lot has changed in almost a decade. The network where I actually started my TV career wouldn't ever hire anyone like me now.
Oh, cheer up, Laura. Yes, they would. They just did. I mean, assuming the other anchors at MSNBC are cool.
Not on my watch. Not on my watch.
It all started when MSNBC, in their infinite wisdom, decided to announce the hiring of former RNC Chair Ronna McDaniel, which is kind of like announcing you have to use the restroom, if we're being honest. Stuff like that you should probably just handle in private. Now, I know a diversity of voices is important. Who can remember Corey Lewandowski on CNN?
So you confirmed that you were asked to obstruct justice.
No, Allison, please. That's not what I confirmed at all. By the way, the Mueller report was very clear. There was no collusion. There was no obstruction.
That's not what the Mueller report said, Corey.
It absolutely says that. And
Corey.
you should read the page that states that. And Bob Mueller
Wait a second, Corey. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Time out. Did you read the Mueller report?
No, I never did.
Then how do you know what it says?
And we will always have Paris Denard.
When a young African-American walks in a cheesecake factory with a Make America Great Again hat, he shouldn't be verbally accosted. You should maybe inquire as to why he's wearing it if you want to hear his point of view, but he should by no means feel that he's not welcome in a restaurant.
Okay.
This is the problem that we have as Americans, and we can all do better.
Mark, I know you want to respond to that. What do you want to say?
Nah, I was wondering what a dude was in a Cheesecake Factory, but I think for me, you know, most you know, that has y'all tripping, man.
Yeah, no,
focus.
Paris.
He got me at the Cheesecake Factory, y'all. I ain't getting out this car.
Now, I clown Fox News early and often, but I'll give them credit. They got the best dissenter in the game.
Ronna McDaniel offers incredible access, which is definitely a huge part of this, and it's an election year, as Jesse said, but she's not a regular Republican. She's not a regular opposition voice, not only just because of how powerful she was in the job that she held, but she is someone who flies in the face of what has become the core ethos over at NBC and MSNBC, from refusing to say that Joe Biden freely and fairly won that election to getting on the phone with Donald Trump and calling up GOP officials in Michigan and pressuring them not to certify the election results. And so we all know this. If you tune in to MSNBC, you are going to hear about January 6th a lot. You are going to hear about how important. No, not okay. I'm not done.
Maybe because she's the only one making sense.
Step you can do is do not be on your phone. Keep your head on a swivel, keep your earbuds low, and pray that come November, there's a different change of leadership here, because if there was a Republican in office, the laws would actually be enforced, police wouldn't be defunded, and we wouldn't be in this situation.
Never mind the GOP voted to defund the DOJ, and the talking point going into the 2020 election was the liberal cities were burning to the ground. You, Emily Compagno, have now said the dumbest thing in 3 straight editions of Street Politics. We are a quarter of the way to a compilation. You keep up the good work. Now, diversity of voices is important, but diversity of reality? How do you get past that? Well, you can't. And MSNBC's own voices made that clear.
And so I want to associate myself with all my colleagues, both at MSNBC and at NBC News, who have voiced loud and principled objections to our company putting on the payroll someone who hasn't just attacked us as journalists, but someone who is part of an ongoing project to get rid of our system of government. Someone who still is trying to convince Americans that this election stuff, it doesn't really work, that this last election, it wasn't a real result, that American elections are fraudulent. Because that argument, that is a necessary part, that is the most necessary part of the overall project of getting us as Americans to give up on this election stuff. Because wouldn't we rather have a real man in charge anyway, somebody who could really get some stuff done, if only we could clear away all the things in his way. We have a long history in this country of forgettable men telling us that we need a new system of government where everything's under their control and politics is over and this new strongman way of government is gonna make America great again. We have had a lot of these guys. But our generation's version of this guy has gotten a lot farther than all the rest of them. And why is that? He would have been as forgotten as all the rest of them had he not been able to attach himself to an institution like the Republican Party, and had the leader of that party in his time not decided that she wouldn't just abide him, she would help. She would help with the worst of it. The person who was the head of the Republican Party during Donald Trump's time in office, and during his effort to throw out the election result and stay in power anyway, and during his effort to run for election again after having done that, is Ronna McDaniel. And she pitched in and helped. She helped set in motion the part of the plot that involved sending fake Trump electors to Congress from states that Trump did not win, so Republicans in Washington could use those fake, fraudulent elector slates to contend that maybe Trump did win those states, even though he didn't. And don't believe me on that. There she is on page 23 and page 27 of the federal indictment charging Donald Trump with conspiring to defraud the United States.
Oh, wait, there's more.
She called me a propagandist, but I've been called worse. She was not hired by MSNBC. I found out about it on Friday when it was publicly announced. I stopped inviting Trump liars like her on this program in 2016 because I've never seen a satisfying, successful interview of a Trump liar and have never thought that I alone could crack the code of how to interview a Trump liar. They are fast and furious liars, and I doubt that I could keep up.
We learned about the hiring when we read about it in the press on Friday. We weren't asked our opinion of the hiring, but if we were, we would have strongly objected to it for several reasons, including, but not limited to, as lawyers might say, Ms. McDaniel's role in Donald Trump's fake elector scheme and her pressuring election officials to not certify election results while Donald Trump was on the phone.
To be clear, we believe NBC News should seek out conservative Republican voices to provide balance in their election coverage. But it should be conservative Republicans, not a person who used her position of power to be an anti-democracy election denier.
On the one hand, if you've read some of the criticism of NBC that has come since the announcement, it is very clear that some of the critics just don't want to be confronted with Republican voices or conservative arguments. So there is that, and that's bad. We want to have a robust exchange between people who believe different things. But I agree with what's been said here. I mean, that's not what Ronna McDaniel is doing. That's not what she's been doing. And she has huge credibility problems, not because she's been a partisan spinner on behalf of the Republican Party, but because she not only presided but drove the QAnonization of the Republican Party during her tenure. And it is the case that when you look at what she did with the fake electors specifically, she wasn't on that phone call because she felt bad about somebody. Donald Trump was on the call. Right. He was telling them, she was saying, we'll get you lawyers. Because the entire 6-week period after the November 2020 election was about making the case that the election had been stolen. She did a tremendous disservice to the country by making the argument that led to the erosion of faith. We've got half of the Republicans right now believe the election wasn't fair. And even today, confronted with her past votes, she couldn't give you a straight answer until your fourth or fifth time pressing.
Taking to MSNBC's own airwaves to excoriate the company's decision, that's like, well, every game Jordan Poole plays for the Washington Wizards. That's not just sending out resumes on company time. That's conducting Zoom interviews in the conference room while ducking a work meeting in the same conference room. That is gangster. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, what did he do to make them niggas that mad? Well, let's see.
Look at
wait a minute. Are you saying, as the chair of the Republican Party, that you still have questions as to whether or not Joe Biden was the duly elected president?
Joe Biden's the president.
No, I didn't ask you whether he's the president.
No, I don't think that. I think
Do you
there
think
were lots of problems.
he won the election?
I think there were lots of problems with 2020.
Do you think he won the
he won the election.
Pardon?
But ultimately, he won the election. But there were lots of problems with the 2020 election. 100%.
And that's fair.
But I don't think he won it fair. I don't. I'm not going to say that.
You're saying you're not sure, as the Republican Party chair, that he was the legitimately elected
I'm saying there were
president.
lots of problems with the 2020 election, and we need to fix it going forward.
And reiterated you're standing behind Israel. Can you expand on your thoughts there?
Absolutely. I think this is a great opportunity for our candidates to contrast where Republicans have stood with Israel time and time again, and Joe Biden has been weak.
What do you think the most important question is that Republicans should get to the bottom of when they get there?
Well, we have to govern. We have to do things on behalf of the American people. But I do think we have to look at big tech and the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop. So first of all, it is AI generated. So we're sharing that up front ethically. So it's not a deep fake. Every single image was AI. But we are painting a picture of a future Biden America. So we have to tackle it, put them on the defensive on their policy of due date abortion, on gender selection abortion. I think that's what China does, that you can abort a baby just because it's a girl. We can't think that the American people understand what socialism is. We do have to go out and educate. We have to talk about Venezuela, where 90% of the people right now are living beneath poverty, that they don't have groceries in their grocery stores, that people are eating dog food to survive. That is the path that Democrats are taking us down. Your party's doing that just fine. We don't need to help you with that at all. You're scaring voters everywhere with the open border. I mean, just last month, 2,000 pounds of fentanyl came across our border. That could kill 500 million people. We're coming into Halloween. Every mom in the country right now is worried, what if this gets into my kid's Halloween basket?
You're talking about the rainbow
fentanyl. What if my teenager gets this? And the media right now, by refusing to report on this, is stealing our faith in the election process. Tell the story. Talk about the people who are being disenfranchised. People across this country deserve to have election integrity, faith in our election system, and believe that there is election integrity. And that's why the RNC is going to pursue this to the very end.
Yes, it was the media, not your phone calls to officials in Michigan, not your fake electors. It was the media. You gonna believe me or your lying eyes? It's the same delusion that makes Donald Trump a victim of the criminal justice system. Yeah, I did a whole video about it. It was pretty good. NBC has now decided not to bring McDaniel aboard after first shuttling her from MSNBC to NBC News. So if you're following at home, NBC decided to give a woman a job breaking down an election after one she tried to overturn based on her credentials from a job where she was fired.
I think there's something deeper going on in the Republican Party here, and I am upset about what happened last night. We've become a party of losers at the end of the day. It was a cancer in the Republican establishment. Let's speak the truth. I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you.
Those credentials, and that's just a view coming from the right, her own people. Those credentials got her that job. And when faced with backlash, NBC tried to push her from the opinion-based MSNBC to the fact-based NBC News. What part of any of what you've heard was fact-based?
So first of all, it is AI generated. So we're sharing that up front ethically. So it's not a deep fake. Every single image was AI, but we are painting a picture of a future Biden America.
It makes more sense to listen to Heidi Montag's music or Kim Kardashian's music or Paris Hilton's music or Ron Artest's music. It's a whole lot of bad music out there. They let anybody cut an album. They brought her in and really tried to save her. And why not? They worked hard for it. According to the Washington Post, MSNBC President Rashida Jones personally participated in recruiting McDaniel, and she was offered a more lucrative contributor contract after she agreed to appear on MSNBC and not just NBC News. And NBC executives, including Rebecca Blumenstein and Carrie Budoff Brown, led the hiring process. They heavily recruited this person.
I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023.
It's hard to even see through that level of privilege. It's clear that privilege extends beyond political parties, from the conservative country club to the liberal social club. Cronyism and nepotism stinks just as loudly. Oh, y'all didn't know? Yeah, Ronna McDaniel, as in Ronna Romney McDaniel.
Why did you change your name for Donald Trump? Before Trump ran for president, her name was Ronna Romney McDaniel. How does that feel, to change your name to curry favor with a madman because he doesn't like your uncle? How did you explain that to your kids?
That's the kind of integrity I'm looking for in a person. She changed her own name just to run the RNC into the ground. That's like getting a BBL to work at Brazzers. All that ass kissing just to get dumped? How does it feel?
Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for being out there. I just have two fun things I want to say to you. One, you're such a wonderful person. You've been so great to women.
Well,
you know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the
not all women.
Well, Ronna is a friend, and I did work for NBC, and in November I worked with Caesar and Rebecca and the whole team. I've never seen anything this brutal since I got started in media in 1990.
I have her resume.